Rebel Author Podcast, where we talk about books, business, and occasionally bad words. Hello, Rebels. This is The Black Heron, episode 14. There was no buddy read this time, but I hope that you enjoy the episode.
Well, hello, Sasha Black.
Hello, darling. How are you?
God,
You have new hair.
I do have new hair. I have, you know what I realized is I have COVID hair. You know how everybody was doing their own haircuts in lockdown and stuff?
Mm-hmm.
While I was sick, I was like, I need bangs right now. And I'm in the bathroom cutting a fringe. And I realized that it wasn't the lockdown. Cutting your own hair is a symptom of COVID. That's
right. Right. Okay. Right. Yeah. See, I can't do that with how wildly curly my hair is. I don't think I've ever had bangs either in my whole life, which is unfortunate. Well, they would curl up, and also it's unfortunate because I have a 7 head. So, you know, like I would love to have a set of bangs or fringe, but I've never been able to. So
your hair, I was going to say your hair is looking divine. I absolutely love it.
So for listeners, the reason my hair looks divine is because I am growing it out for the first time in 18 years. First time in 18 years.
Wow. How does it feel?
So, well, I think I kept it short because I wasn't allowed to have my hair cut when I was growing up. So I didn't go to the hairdresser until I was 18. And obviously I'm 36 now. So I had it long for 18 years and I had it short for 18 years. Some might say that was spite, but whatever.
You got the full extent of the 18 years out of your system.
Well, you know, exactly.
And now you get to do what you want.
Exactly. So yeah, I'm growing it. Not like super, super long, but just shoulder length. And then I'm going to shave underneath, I think, so I can have it up or down, but I still need it to be a little bit funky. But unfortunately at the moment it's so short. I just look like a bit of a microphone, really. So
you look adorable, and you forget too that I'm married to someone with your hair, so I know exactly the pain of what you're going through. I will say that it looks adorable on you, but she always gets to the stage where it's just out.
Susan
it's like
Boyle.
A mushroom.
That's what I've been walking around saying all week. I look like Susan Boyle, and Chloe hasn't disagreed. So, you know.
I do not think your hair or anything about you looks like Susan Boyle.
I mean, not that there's anything wrong with her. No. You know, like, of course. She's an amazing singer, but like, I'm not a huge fan of her hair. Her voice is amazing, incredible. I love her voice, but not really the hair. And I just kind of feel like I'm embodying my best Susan Boyle, and I'm just desperate for it to,
I disagree.
grow.
I think it looks great. and now listeners are caught up on the most important thing, which is our hair, which is really true. Also, I did my eye makeup today for the first time in a while. I don't know why.
It's pretty. I love it.
So then I put glasses on. You can't see it anymore, but
I know. That's the downside of wearing glasses, right? I have not seen you in 2 months.
2 months. So listeners, what do you say when you take a pass? It was like in American football, we say it's a bye week. It was a bye month. It's just like we just couldn't.
We noped out.
Noped out. That's what I'm looking for. Right at the end of the month is when I'd gotten COVID as we were on the way to the airport after our trip. Like we're literally in the rental car about to return it. And my sister is in her truck and she texts and she says, I don't feel good. Let's just stop and take a test. So we all got tests and we all tested positive, me and Lala and my sister. My sister had been staying with us for those 2 weeks. So then we just canceled everything and went back to the, we got a new Airbnb because everything was, we're all packed without, when you pack to go home and it's the hardest packing job you've ever done anyway, because you're trying to fit the things in that you bought. And so we just went and unpacked.
I really get very desperately uncomfortable. So I love going away. It's like my favorite thing is travel. But when I'm ready to come home, like I need to be home immediately.
Yeah.
And I can't, like Chloe really loves like very long extended breaks. And unless I was like going traveling and I knew that like I had the next stop and the next stop and the next stop. I just can't go away for like 6 weeks just to lie on a beach. I would literally lose my mind. And but Chloe loves these really long, you know, like 16-day fucking vacations. And I'm like, day 10 and I'm ready to come home.
Yes.
And anyway, this one time, not at Bangkok, but in Tenerife, we were going for a 2-week holiday. That's what I had planned for. So on day 14, we stripped everything, deep cleaned it, bleached it, got rid of all our food because we were staying in a self-catering one back then. And then I checked the flights to realize they were 2 days later. That was the longest 2 days of my life. I really don't like waiting to go home. I mean, I was like anxietying for you at the prospect of being stuck in America because like I just would have wanted to have come home. I would have hated it.
Well, and there was all this sudden red tape too. Like, you know, suddenly, like we as soon as she said she felt funny, we're like, I kind of feel funny. And then we couldn't find tests. So it's like 2 hours later by the time we've gone to 3 pharmacies to find tests because it was the COVID surge and there were no tests. So we finally found them. And by then I'm feeling crappy. But now we've got to like find a place to stay. Because of our trip insurance, we had to go to a doctor and find a doctor like medically verify and give us the thing that would allow us to postpone everything. So suddenly we're thrust into all this red tape. But then I got to tell you, it was that like suddenly we've got, the whole trip I'd been congratulating myself because the last year it was 3 weeks and I wanted to die. This year we did 14 days. And I kept saying, this is about right. I could have gone home 2 days ago, but 14 days is great. And now we've just made it 3 weeks because we added 7 days. But what was kind of fantastic, and you'll understand this, is that I've never, ever, ever once in my entire life, never had a holiday where you just lie around and read and relax ever. Like I always plan to do that and then I don't do it. But I didn't have it very bad and we got the Paxlovid and first 2 days were kind of crappy. But then after that, I was really weak and couldn't move around. I was coughing and stuff, but I just had to lie in bed and, you know, read books and watch as much TV as I wanted on my iPad. And I kind of loved it. It was kind of great. If I couldn't be home, at least I was with 2 of my 3 favorite people. My other sister stayed healthy. If she had gotten it, then all my favorite people would have been in the same house with me. And we just ordered takeout and watched our own devices and chatted a little bit. And it was kind of amazing.
Yeah, I am very in the middle. Like I would say 9 out of 10 of our holidays are like, go, 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 see all the things, do all the things, walk off places, go meet all the people. And then like 1 out of 10 of our holidays, I crash and burn. And Chloe's very desperate for these types of holidays. We just have to lie still. So when we went to,
like, are you crashing yet? Are you burning
yet? Yeah, literally. Because that's the type of holiday that she wants. And the rest of the time, I just drag her around. But because I think we spoke mid-July, so it's even longer than 2 months because it was just before we both went away, wasn't it?
I can't remember. I'm going to take your word for it. Yeah, it's been a long time.
So we went away in August to Turkey for 2 weeks, and I was like in a state of like basically. I was just catatonic the first week. I didn't even have a conversation. I just sat and read. I read like 13 books in 2 weeks.
Oh,
and
did that feel so good?
So good. So good. I really needed it. So that's why I was just agreeing with you basically that like sometimes I think we need that you just have to lie still because we are, and all of our friends are very much like go, 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 do all the things, achieve all the things, smash off all the tasks. Like that's just the type of people I think we attract. That's just who we are. So lying still is excruciating for me most of the time until I crash and burn and then I have to do it.
Which is, I think, the exact equivalent of illness because it is a type of illness. We actually need something to cut us off at the knees and like and force us to fall over. For me, for a lot of my life, and I don't want to blame, and I never blame health stuff on other stuff because I think that's just a problem waiting to happen. But I do know that my migraines are sometimes hormone related, sometimes weather related, but sometimes they're just Rachael related. And it's because I've been doing too much and the stress of it just knocks me over. And yeah, that's what we do.
We all have those warning signs.
Do you think that, and this is something I've wondered for a really long time, do you think that it's worth doing that before? Because
Yes,
I don't know.
annually.
I think it is worth, but how do you make yourself do it? You said annually?
Yes, annually. So the deal is like so the conversation we had this year is that I can't stand 2 weeks. I just can't do it. It's too much for me. I get itchy, I'm uncomfortable, and I end up not enjoying the last couple of days. Chloe wants more than 10 days. So like we're going to try and meet somewhere in the middle. And the deal is we do one of those a year because I think it does stop me from falling over because, there are a lot of responsibilities. We still have a young kid. So we do kind of need that extra bit of like preventative measure.
Yeah.
But I'll do that as long as I can do other trips. So entitled, I know, but like I'm like, okay, so next year Venice is happening. Like I've put my foot down. We are going to Venice next year, which I know that I've been hungering after for ages. Yeah. So we're going to go to Venice next year. I'm pretty sure there's a Sweden, or is it? I think it's Sweden we're going to. So yeah, there has to be other trips in there where we're like, go, see all the things, do all the things, because it's it's inspiration for me. I get a huge quantity of inspiration from travel. So yeah. So how was America aside from COVID?
It was great because I did not do the thing that I did the year before, which was, just lose my cabbage and book every minute. And I didn't do that this time. I kept the calendar pretty clear. We didn't tell a lot of people that we were coming. We had one open house where we told friends that they could come over and see us. And that was like 2 hours of wonderfulness and 2 hours of just I wanted to die, and it's too much. It's too much.
And
too many
2
people.
hours of picking up COVID, probably.
probably.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. But then the rest of the time, actually, and that was and thankfully, I thought that's where we would get COVID if we got it, but we had that. Oh, and the other thing I did that was smart, and was in the first week, I chucked it with like the open house and seeing this friend and seeing that friend and seeing that friend. And then the second week, I really tried to leave open. So I had recovery time while we were there too. And it was just fun. And I really followed my gut and I followed my energy. And there were times when I was just lying around in the living room, listening to a podcast and playing my game with my headphones in, not talking to anybody else. And that's how I refuel. And it was so good. It was so great. And I gotta say, like, I came back and then we had a relapse, which is I think when we canceled because we were home, but the day after we got home we started testing positive again. So we had this like 30-hour block of testing negative where we flew home. We're like, oh, it's great, we feel great, and then I don't feel so great, I really feel bad. And then so it kind of came. I didn't get as sick as I was. That lasted about 4 or 5 days, but Lala got actually sicker than she'd ever been. So, but then we were home. But what was I saying? So after that extra rest, when I finally started to get energy back, I've just been blasting through this revision, which I had until mid-September to do, but I asked for an extension because of COVID, and I got till the end of September to do. And I've been doing the whole thing in basically 3 weeks. And it's been great. Like my brain is here. It's on. It knows what it's doing. It knows what it's doing for the most part. But I think we've talked about this before. Do you do this where like I'm back? I'm working really hard. I'm working long hours. I'm getting, 7,000, 10,000 words revised in a day. And these are big, like heavy revisions. And I'm also consuming books like I cannot stop. I'm reading a book a day or a book every 2 days because sometimes I feel like when I'm on the deadline stress, I read even more than ever. I don't want to do anything else. I just want to inhale books.
I do the opposite.
Really? Tell me about it.
So I think that's one of the reasons that I need those like 2-week breaks away next to a pool or next to a beach I have no interest in touching, so that I do just sit on the bench and read because so I read 23 books in July and I can't tell you how much I needed to do that. I was literally just cookie monstering everything I could get my hand. And I also binged 2 series. I don't actually know what I did in July. Must have been just reading. But then, so I started drafting book 3 on the 7th of August. And I think I read like 4 books in the whole of August because I work such long hours. There is literally not a second left in that day. I am at the desk, or I'm parenting, or I'm back at the desk, and then I collapse in bed. Like that. So the focus tunnel is so acute that nothing else exists. And actually, funnily enough, I was having a conversation with Chloe, and I was saying I find it really difficult because I am aware that I'm not present when I'm drafting, and the same when I'm editing. Like I'm just not. The lights are on and I'm on autopilot because I don't leave the world. And that, I think that's one of the reasons I have to do everything so quickly and intensely, because I have to come back out to be a human and an adult again.
Where is your focus? It's in your top 10?
It is in my top 10. It's 8.
Yeah. Mine is pretty low, so I don't have that. That must feel so interesting.
It's very good and awful all at the same time. I don't like not being present, and I try really hard, but like I just know that I'm really only half there because my brain just doesn't really leave the manuscript when I'm drafting. But it's the way I get it done the best. So
do you ever see, and my non-focused self, if I were to try to do that, if I were to try to spend that many hours at the desk, I 100% know that I would get resentful. I would resent the book, and I would resent my job, and I would resent myself. You don't have any of that. You just want to be there.
Because the draft is the most fun element. I resent it when I'm editing because I absolutely hate editing. So, and do you know, okay, so this is fascinating. I edited the book for a week, did all of the edits, handed it to my editor and beta reader on the same day, got the book back, edited both the editors and beta readers' feedback in 2 days. Those 2 periods, that 1 week and that weekend, or Sunday, Monday it was, I have never felt so drained, so exhausted, so sick. I thought I was going to get sick because it was like a physical manifestation of my pure, unadulterated rage and resentment at having to edit the manuscript.
Whereas the way I feel with first drafts.
Yeah, that's so interesting. Isn't it so interesting?
I can spend forever in revision, and I do because it gives me so much energy. But doing the first draft, I have to do as fast as possible because I hate it so much.
That's what I like with editing.
Exceptions, but
so that's why I'm like, no, this must be edited this week. So I'm more present when I'm drafting. I'm very, very space cadet when I'm editing.
Okay, so tell me about what you did. So you started writing the book at the first week of August?
7th of August I started.
Okay. And then
finished on the 1st of September.
Oh my God. And now it's the 26th. So you've already had it. What you're doing, what you just told me is what you've just done. You've just edited it. It's done.
So I started on the 7th of August. God. I finished on the 1st of September. I think I had like 1 day off and then I edited from Monday. It was the day before Atlas went back to school. So it was Monday the 4th. I handed it to my editor on the 8th and then, or the 9th, I think it was a Saturday. And then they had it until the 15th. And then the 17th and 18th of September were the worst 2 days of the month. I edited the whole book. I had to, and here's the thing, right? I think I'm going to possibly change editors because we had a slight disagreement about direction. And I'm really disappointed because I absolutely loved this editor's feedback on book 2. They really, really made it a much better book. But sort of the comments that came back were, oh, this is the perfect Agatha Christie setup. You should rewrite it as a mystery. And I was like, I write romance.
That's not what you're writing.
No. So that was like the first step in a bit of a spiral that's happened at the end of this month in terms of imposter syndrome and like self-doubt and stuff. So anyway, a very kind friend, got on the blower and we like brainstormed how I could make it structurally better to keep it the romance that I wanted to keep it. So I did that and then blasted it out in 2 days. And now it's with the editor and it's due back tomorrow. And then it's ready for publication. Well, apart from formatting, it will be ready for publication. So I've pulled it up 4 months. So it was in January. I'm now releasing next month.
My jaw. What the hell?
It's the last book in a trilogy though, so it's sort of, a medium launch rather than, because I'm already this board here, I'll give you a quick. That is my new vampire series. Oh my god, I'm so excited. Oh, I'm so excited. Oh my god, I actually can't wait. I'm so excited. It's so good.
Are you launching into writing that as a trilogy, and then you'll see where it goes and see if you want more?
It will definitely be a trilogy.
Yeah,
definitely. I highly doubt that will be the only vampire series I write. I suspect I will write more. Whether or not it's in that world or a new one remains to be seen.
Can we go back and do the thing that one of my favorite editors ever did to me? And I really got so much out of this. So I'm just going to say that she was working on a memoir of mine, and I would send her, the chapter, and she would read the chapter and she would say, "This is a great chapter. Wow, love this chapter." And then she would circle the one thing that was hard for me to say, and she would say, "Throw the rest out, go there." I'll go there. So can we please go back to where you said very quickly this feeling of imposter syndrome, and what is that about?
God.
Talk to me about that. So was it the editor? I'm gonna make you do the hard thing. Was it the editor who pushed you into that spiraling?
I think that was the start. And then I've had to face the fact that I am actually going to be delivering a keynote somewhere. And then there were just like a couple of other things that were like really amazing and special, and I felt very honored. But also I was like, who the fuck are you to be doing this, that, and the other, I just, yeah. And so Ellie's like, "You're devaluing your journey again." And I'm like,
but you are devaluing your journey.
You're getting off of me.
Yeah, me and Ellie got on the horn right before we chatted. But like, you are someone who, and I know you don't need me blowing smoke, and this isn't blowing smoke. You write books, you complete books, you do them in a mind-blowingly, devastatingly fast fashion, which most of us cannot do and won't do and don't need to do, dear listener.
That fast when there are people publishing every week, though.
Yeah, fuck them. That's not how we do it. Your books are your books, and I cannot. That is your competition. Oh, you must just want to punch competition in the face when it does that.
So hard.
It's very frustrating. You just told us how you wrote and revised and basically are almost ready for publication in under 2 months with an incredibly good book at the end of a series that you have adored. Also, you understand how books work. You understand story structure. You understand character. And you are a person who can describe it to other people and get them excited about doing the same thing in their own work. It's too bad you're so awesome. Like, honestly.
It's hard when, I don't know, like we all have self-worth shit, right? We all have the bullshit in our brains. And like, I've actually, funny enough, today I booked another coaching session with Ellie for early next week, because and in my email, I was like, I've made so much progress over the last couple of years. And I feel like I've taken, like 11 steps forward. And in the last 10 days, I'm taking steps back, and I can see the behaviors and the mindset shift going backwards, and I can't afford that right now. I'm past that. That was past Sasha, I don't need to be that person anymore. So
my goodness, but what about life as, and you're gonna hate it, but the idea of these waves that we can be our best selves for so long, and then we can be not our best selves for maybe just a little bit of time, but that is a natural human thing to do. And asking yourself to be your best self all the time and to be perfect all the time is impossible and will only let you down. I feel like a psychologist, and I feel like, Ellie, call me, we'll work together.
Well, I don't know about being perfect. I'm definitely not perfect, but I do like to be my best self as a number one competition all the time. I find it uncomfortable if I'm not. Like, the thing is, but I'm also realistic. We all have bad days, but I'm accepting that, and I'm trying to mitigate it as fast as possible by putting in extra coaching, right? Because I can see that I'm taking steps back. Therefore, I'm gonna rectify that shit real quick.
I
with
can
coaching.
see exactly that, and I can see why you're doing that, and that mitigation technique I think is really useful. So yes, but also give yourself some goddamn kindness, please. Like if your son came to you and said, I've got to be my best self all the time, and I was just so tired, I went to bed early last night and that's not my best self, you would say, ah,
Oh, I know.
give yourself some kindness.
Look, I never said I wasn't a hypocrite, okay? It's tough, yeah. I mean, I don't know. Do you ever have these bouts of self-doubt? Like, I haven't had self-doubt like this in a really long time.
I had huge self-doubt after an edit of the recovery memoir last year.
Interesting.
Yeah, enormous, because I'd hired this woman because I'd worked with her before. She'd actually edited me in like a ladies' home journal when she had been there, and I had published something there, and she was great. And then another good friend of mine recommended her for memoir, and she's been at the Big Five forever. She's done magazines. She knows what she's talking about with creative nonfiction, but she didn't like me, and she didn't like my enthusiastic voice, and she gave me a strong edit which told me many of the things that were wrong with the book, which is what I needed. But also she kind of just brought me to my knees. Like, is my voice bullshit? And my voice is Rachel. And so then am I bullshit? You know what I mean?
So what was interesting is my friend who got on the Zoom with me to talk it out read the feedback and said, she's not helping you improve the story. She's trying to change the story.
Yes.
And that was really because normally I'll swallow those edits. Tell me where I've gone wrong. I want to improve it. I'll do all your changes, like whatever, I have no problems with feedback, like whatsoever. And I added 7 extra scenes to book 2 after this person's feedback, because I love, I have no
love
problems
feedback. I have no problem
Yeah.
with criticism. And that is exactly what happened, is that I hadn't written the book she thought I should have written and wanted to change it to suit her. But so then what we're left with is this, and maybe you went through this too, but I was left with this really interesting thing of like, I need to take all of the good advice because there was so much of it. The majority of her advice was good, but I have to separate out this thing that's making me feel so small. Like, I can't do this. Like, I'm not allowed to be this person. Like, she would literally go in and strip my sentences back to journalistic level so they wouldn't be conversational anymore. And I am a conversational writer, especially when I'm writing creative nonfiction. Like, I'm encouraging and fun and funny and chatty, and she didn't want any chatty. She wouldn't allow chatty Rachel in. And when chatty Rachel was gone, what was left? What do I have? And so to find all of the truth without losing yourself. And that's really interesting that both of us have hit a wall with an editor.
Yeah, very, very interesting. And especially because I pride myself on being able to take feedback and criticism.
You can tell me this sucks. And here's where it sucks. And I'll go, oh my God, you're right, it sucks. And I can fix that. Yeah. I can always fix that. Not a problem. But if it felt more, I turned it more personal, which is kind of humbling. And also it makes me feel for every, new writer who's getting their first revision letter that is like a nuclear explosion. When
I definitely cried on the first one.
Yeah, I cried, but I also didn't understand it for the first 3 days. Like, not even, they weren't even speaking English for the first week. Nothing made sense. And that's not fun.
No, but then I'm like chomping now, like these days, I'm chomping at the bit for the edit because I'm like, give me. How can I improve? Like, what can I do better? Like, what did I miss? Like, how can I deepen this? How can I, and I'm like, give it all to me. And so that's why I was so utterly thrown. I literally felt like I'd been kidney punched because it was like change the story to a mystery. And I was like, this is a romance series. What? And so, I don't know. And so that was definitely the start of a spiral.
So what did your friend tell you that helped with that after they saw the revision notes?
The point about improving the story is what an editor should do versus changing the story really, really helped.
Yeah.
And then talking through ways to add certain bits that would deliver what the editor wanted without having to structurally change the book. And it's hard without giving spoilers or giving details, but like there were writer tricks that you can do in, you know, seeding things and then just comments here and there, which made it easier than having to, like, you know, completely restructure. And to be fair, I did do a hell of a restructure because I shifted the protagonist from one of them to the other. So that was like,
God.
Yeah, it was quite, it was subtle anyway. And I had a feeling that it was the other one, but I hadn't done that in that draft. And so I had to like but it, you know, when they're one, then the other, one, then the other, one, then the other, in terms of drop and points of view, it's actually quite easy to shift it because you just, you know, that's not as hard as if you have written it from one character's perspective.
And would have to switch the whole thing. Yeah.
Especially when they're both female. It's not like you've got a male protagonist and a female protagonist, right? Like, so it's easier for me to do that than it would be for a straight romance writer or for an author who's writing from one point of view. But that helped because actually the more active character, I just basically focused on the more active character and then buried more of the action into what that person was doing. So yeah, it helped. And I do, even talking about it actually, and about what I did is making me feel more confident, which is great. But I have definitely been in a bit of a lull. And the other bit is that as somebody who has significance, I need feedback. And I don't have any feedback. And I even the editor emailed to say they would deliver tomorrow. And I emailed back going, is it better? You know, like question mark, nothing. So like that has been like eating me up. And of course I don't want to send it to anybody because I don't know if it's good enough. And so it's just been this exhausting spiral.
So if, God forbid, every editor in the world died of editor plague today, and you never got those notes back and you had to publish, how would you feel about it? Like, just with Sasha's brain, how would you feel about the revision that you did?
I don't know, because I was super confident before I sent the book off to the editor. Yeah. So I don't know. And at the moment, I need the feedback.
Yeah.
I need to know if I improved it.
Everyone listening is dying to know what the editor's going to say, but I'm going to use Rachael privilege and say, can you please Marco Polo me afterwards?
Yes, I will.
Now I want to know.
I will. And it's like, you may get a crying Marco.
Yes.
Yeah. Or you may get
not. I'm going to get the A, but that is stressful.
It is stressful, but it's done now and it will go out. And it was the longest book. It's the second longest book I've ever written.
Oh my God. And you did all of that.
Over 100,000 words. Oh, it's just hit 100,000 words.
Holy cow. And to do that so quickly and to hold it in your head, Jesus. I will just say that I got an email recently from a listener who was basically like, how can I be more like Sasha?
Nobody wants to be like me, trust me. Like, I am a hot mess of like.
But my answer is that you are just, you're completely unique. You do things that nobody else can do, honestly. And you bring such emotion and such action to your books that nobody else would be able to do that in 2 months. Nobody. And you should be really proud of yourself.
Well, thank you. But also, whoever that was shouldn't want to. They should want to be the most them. Yeah, right? Because that is how they win. Yeah. And that's the point. We all have to be the most ourselves possible. Because that's how we shine the brightest at the end of the day.
And myself is chatty. And I'm going to... And actually, you know what I will say about that edit that devastated me? The book is still like in limbo. I have made the 100%, I swear to God, decision. I'm self-publishing the New Zealand memoir, which is the one I'm finishing now. And then after that, I'll move back over to the recovery memoir. And I still don't know what to do, if I will let my agent have that again or not. But
oh, that's interesting.
Oh,
do you think it's blocked you in any way?
That did block me.
Closing it. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, maybe that's why I haven't closed other books. But it feels really good to be getting so close to the end of the New Zealand book. But one thing that edit did do for me was now I can really lean into my voice. I've always enjoyed my voice, and I know my readers enjoy my essay voice. And now I like, as I've been editing this book, I'll go like, that's great. That's charming. I would find that charming if I read it. And people who don't find that charming will not be my reader. And so it's kind of doubled me down on who I am as a writer too. And I took every structural note, but I will never be the thin, tight, journalistic, let me tell you the facts. I don't want to tell you the facts. I want to tell you the story.
How is your voice the same, and how is your voice different across your fiction and nonfiction?
It's really similar.
Really interesting.
Really similar. I always say that it is, that Nathaniel Hawthorne quote that says, easy reading is damned hard writing.
Yes.
That is what my voice is. And if my voice gets convoluted and fancy, it's hard to read, and that's not me. But I have really, like, I always talk about my legs. I have a very long torso. Like, I'm all torso and 27-inch legs. Really? Like, just
yeah.
I can never touch the ground. I'm always cross-legged in any chair that I sit
Oh my God, me too.
How fun. I didn't know that. But I talk about my
short leg thing.
We got to run faster, man. We learn to run faster.
I look like the Duracell bunny when I try and run.
Me too. And that's why we get things done. But I always talk about my sturdy peasant legs. Like, my sturdy peasant legs, they will harvest your field. They will they'll bring in the sheaves. They will get it. They'll birth the babies, even though I never birthed the baby. But these legs get shit done, and my prose gets shit done. And it doesn't do it always very prettily. But then I'll wing a lyrical thought at you, and then go back into sturdy peasant prose, and it affects the reader. And I do, and I only know this because I have written so many books, and I hear the feedback, and I always talk about voice being like your accent. You can't hear it, but other people can tell you what it is. And everyone always tells me the same things about my fiction and my nonfiction, which is, you make me feel better. You comfort me. I think I've mentioned this to you before, but like my, oh God, I've just lost the name of that book. Oh, Splinters of Light, is a book about a woman dying of early onset Alzheimer's. And like, she's not going to get out of it. She doesn't die at the end. No, no spoilers, but she's gonna. And people go, oh, it's so comforting. I love that book. It just made me feel so warm and fuzzy. Like, did you read the same book? So I can't not do it. I can't.
I love that so much.
What about you? Well, let me think, because I've read your fiction and your nonfiction. I would say that you, and I'm gonna speak for you, and then I want to hear what you actually have to say about yourself. But you always have this fiery way of moving forward, and I would say dragging the reader with you, but you don't. The reader's just running next to you to keep up. Like, I just want to know what happens next. I want to know what happens next in your fiction and in your nonfiction. You can't put it down. It's got that. It's got the same drive that you do. What do you think when I say that?
I think that makes a lot of sense. I think that I write very fast things. Yes. I am a fast person, so that makes sense to me. The interesting thing is that the reason that I asked the question is that one of the really good bits of feedback that I had is that one of the characters in this book has a very different voice to any of the other characters in the series. And the editor noticed and was like, I love this voice. And what's so lovely is that even though the character sounds so radically different, they still sound like you.
Oh.
And I thought that was very interesting. And that kind of got me thinking about craft and prose and what I want from this next series. And so, like, little learner me wants to add in, or maybe it's not learner, maybe it's Sig, I'm not really sure. One of my strengths wants to build more world building and add a little bit more depth to the fantasy elements, whilst still writing quickly and still having all the spice and the smart, because obviously there's, smart is smart and smart. So I am kind of interested to see what this plays out like, because I think it will be fast with the odd like lyrical, prosy section,
You're already doing that though, because you do have that thing that I do too, which is like fast, fast, fast. I'm not paying attention to the fact that I'm reading because I'm in the world. And then suddenly I'm hit with a paragraph. I'm like, oh, wait, I got to read that one again because it felt so good as a writer to read. Readers won't, I don't know if readers do that or not, if they're not writers, but you already have that. So amping it up, I don't think will be hard.
No.
Yeah.
Here's a question. Have you read Yellowface?
Yeah. Oh my God. I love it.
Okay, I'm halfway through and I have never been so uncomfortable reading a book in my entire life. My whole body is like this whilst I'm reading.
I was describing it to my wife and she was like, I'd rather eat glass. I could never. But so may I just explain it really quickly? Yellowface.
Yes, don't spoil though. Don't spoil. No. No spoilers. How about I explain?
Yes,
because I haven't read the whole book. Okay.
Yes.
The concept of the book is from an author's perspective whose best friend is a literary darling and she has a tragic accident and dies in chapter 1. And the writer takes her manuscript and so the story begins and you see what happens with this manuscript.
But may I mention the racial element of it?
Oh, yes.
Because I don't think that's a spoiler. I don't think that's a spoiler. So the author, R.O. Kwan, is Chinese American, and she's writing about and the literary darling is Chinese American, but the author that is the point of view character is white. But she's writing a book about a person of color. And
not just a person of color. She's writing a story about like it would be like a straight person writing a coming out story.
Yes.
That's the only way I can describe it. It's about race.
Yeah. And it is so funny. Every single sentence is a tiny microaggression. And it must have been the most cathartic thing anyone has ever written. I hope it was for her. I hope that she just howled her way through the drafting. I don't know when I've enjoyed a book more and when I have been able to recommend it to fewer people because you have to be. But also, that's not true because people are loving it. Like it's huge. It's huge.
Yeah. But I think like if you're not maybe sensitive enough, it might actually just pass you by. Like it's one of those things. I
wondered that too.
Yeah. Like I can think of certain family members, if I gave the book to, they'd be like, I don't get it. And I'd be like, this is why you need it. Like,
I cannot recommend it more highly. I thought it was so fun.
Yeah. Also, like it's so clever. Like the prose is clever. It is rich. She's a fucking prodigy herself. She's a genius, the woman. I hate her a little bit because she's so good at writing. Like the book has so many underlines and notes in the corners where I'm like, this is so good. Oh, this is excellent. Oh.
I love that you brought that up. I'd actually forgotten that was one of the highlights of my reading year, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm literally feeling slightly uncomfortable even talking about how uncomfortable I feel reading it. Like it's horrendous and I just have no idea where it's going. Like I think
if you didn't feel uncomfortable, that would be cause for worry, but then you wouldn't understand that it was cause for worry. But I am one of those people who loves cringe anything. Like if it is the cringiest moment on television, like all those cringe shows, I love that feeling. And like Lala hates that feeling. So like, how do you feel about like the British Office when it was out? Could you watch it?
No, it's not really my thing. Only because I didn't find it that funny. I'm more like Michael McIntyre, Lee Evans type jokes. Like I'm a bit simple when it comes. Oh my God, Michael Evans, Michael McIntyre, Lee Evans, Michael McIntyre. I will send you some TikToks because they're hard to explain.
So Yellowface, but then I also wanted, and I'm sorry, I'm jumping off, but like, what are the series that you finished? Because I loved Deadlock. Have you seen Deadlock yet?
No.
Deadlock will consume you. It's the funniest
Okay.
thing I've ever seen. It's 8 episodes. It's Australian, and it's all one word, Deadlock, like lake, Loch. You'll love it. Thank me
So,
later.
okay, what's it about? No, because is
It
it
is
scary?
it's set in Tasmania, and it's a murder crime series. It's a crime series that is a serious crime series. There's crime going on, and there's a detective that's investigating. It's all lesbian. It's so gay.
Oh, okay,
It's
I'm
so
back
gay,
in.
and
I'm all the way back in.
it's so feminist, but almost every other line is funny. Like, I don't know how they're pulling off murder crime show, but it's so funny. Like, and Lala doesn't like that kind. Like, she doesn't do the murder crime shows. And I said, just watch one episode, and she was in by like minute 2.
Okay. Well, Chloe loves like murder crime stuff, so
It'll be
that.
perfect for both of you.
Okay,
And the
cool.
characterization, I want to know what you think about the characterization, because I think the way they built these characters is genius. I never watched shows twice, and this one I
Neither do I.
watched while sick, and then I turned around and I said, Lala, we have to watch this. So,
I did that with The Diplomat in
you know
July.
what? I watched The Diplomat while I was sick too, because I'd heard a show of you saying that you liked it so much, and I really enjoyed it too.
Oh my God, it was so good. So
And I think
good.
it was picked up for season 2, right?
Yeah, yes, yeah, yeah. I would have died if it wasn't. It was so I never ever rewatch shows ever. And it was so good. I literally turned around to Chloe and I was like, you must watch this. So much so I'm going to sit here and babysit and make sure that you watch it. And
That's
she
how I
loved
feel
it
about
too.
Deadlock. That is how I feel about Deadlock.
I've written it on a post-it.
Well, like
It will happen.
Diplomat was rich and compelling, but then Deadlock also has the funny, the deeply, deeply funny. Like,
So, like all my favorite shows are either like political ones, like The Diplomat, West Wing, Scandal,
Americans.
Designated Survivor. Love all of the American stuff. Love it. Like literally, will gobble it
No,
up all
but
day
The
long.
Americans. What about that show?
Oh no, I haven't seen that. No, what's that?
It's the same
Oh my God.
actor that was in Diplomat, except she's even better in it. Just watch an episode or two.
And is it political as well?
Yes, deeply, deep. It's about she's a spy in the 1980s.
Oh, it's historical.
No, but it doesn't feel historical. Just try it.
Okay. Okay.
Try
All right,
Deadlock
all
and
right,
try
I'll
The
try.
Americans for me.
Okay, I will. I will. The one I want to watch this week is The Continental, which is like a 1970s play on John Wick. Like, so it's the Continental Hotel. Yeah, I mean, John Wick is one of my favorite franchises ever.
Because it's perfect.
Yeah,
It's not perfect,
in every way.
It's great.
Yeah, like literally, there is nothing I don't love about John Wick. The Continental has just come out on Prime.
I'm ready.
So yeah, the other ones that I watched were the vampire. And so this is the other type of show that I love, is like vampires. So I watched the Vampire Academy one, but the new one, which was on Amazon Prime, which is great. Like,
Which
new
is
version
what's it
of
called? It's the new Vampire Academy.
Because
I'm also a big fan. I love.
I think it was.
I'll even watch the schlocky ones like Vampire Diaries. Like, I
love them.
Yeah,
love them. Yeah, and the originals. Seen all of that. Yeah, and I'm now watching the new Interview with a Vampire series.
Oh, I forgot that came out. Is it good?
Yeah, it's very homoerotic. Is that the right word?
Good. It should be. That's exactly.
Is it? Was that what the books were like?
Yes.
Obviously the one with Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt wasn't.
So.
Oh, I didn't know that. Maybe I'll listen to it on audio then.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, well, this is very queer.
Good. I think they shied away from that in the 90s one. But yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so that's been quite good as well. There was something else I've binged, but I can't remember. I'm terrible with names of things.
Deadlock,
but anyway,
Deadlock. You're gonna also
I'm on it.
Polo me and say my life has changed. My life has changed by this show.
Okay, I promise. So what are you working on now? Like, what's to the end of the year?
Okay. Ooh, good question. So it is September. By the end of this week, I will have the New Zealand book done, and then that'll go away to my developmental editor okay, so I'm going to out myself, and I feel very vulnerable about this because I have students who listen, and students don't do this. But I'm using my copy editor as a developmental editor, which I never do, because she's, number one, incredible. She's so good at everything that she does, and she sees the things that, like, why are you doing this here and not there? But memoir, I know. I understand memoir story structure. I understand the structure of this book. This book is not giving me heartburn at all. I know that I'm not nailing everything, and that's why I have an editor. But so that's going to be kind of a combo 1-2 package, which I do not recommend doing for most people. But so I'm doing that. And so then I'll get that back and I'll revise that quickly. Then I'm going to do the audiobook of it. And as soon as I get the audiobook in the can, I'm going to start building the Kickstarter, which I know takes a long time and doing all that. So I'm going to do a Kickstarter for this book. And Lala, I remember we talked last time about me bringing Lala into the business. We have since decided that would be a bad idea. And here's why. Lala agreed with this. I made all of these decisions like by talking to friends, but then I forgot to tell Lala about it. But like like with you, I decided to bring her totally into the business. And then with other friends, I decided, no, that won't be a good idea because Lala cannot both work with me and be looking for another job at the same time. She's got to have one job. Like, and if her job is looking for a job, that's her job. But she is going to build my Shopify store because that is actually her job. And that now can go on her resume, on her CV. So she's going to build out the Shopify store while I'm building the Kickstarter. So after the New Zealand book is kickstarted and done and dusted, it'll go on the Shopify store for a month exclusive. And then I'll do it wide. So that's the launch plan for the book that is currently called Unstuck. I think it's something like, I don't know what the subtitle is, but Unstuck, how blowing up my life led to happiness, blah, 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 something. So I want to get the happiness SEO word in there. And I do like the idea, this concept of blowing up a life, just visually big. And then, but while I'm waiting for things, I'm going to be revising 7 Miracles, which I'm getting back from my editor in like a week or two. But I think those revisions, she said, are going to be very light. And then I'm going to be revising the recovery memoir. Basically, that book is it's already in place, but I can't even describe. Like I had a chapter that did something, and then for every chapter that did something, I had a reactionary chapter. And I'm combining those. My editor, my agent was like, I see what you're doing, but would it be smoother to combine them? And then I tried combining the first 3 months of the year-long book, and it worked so well that I'm like, oh, God damn it, I need to do that. So once I do that, then I will either give it to her to try to sell, or I will self-publish it. And I don't know what I'm going to do with that one yet. And I think that'll get me through the next 3 months plus teaching.
I mean, that's quite a lot.
Yeah, I know that's quite a bit, quite a bit. But it's, it's the finishing energy that I've been looking for, and it feels really good. So what about you? What is next for you? When do you start on the vampires?
So in order to write quickly, I have to brainstorm and outline and outline again and re-outline and brainstorm some more. So I'm not starting the drafting until November the 20th.
Good. And I would like listeners to know that we are recording this on September 26th, and that is part of your process. And when the legendary Sacha Black writes so quickly and then can edit so quickly, it is because you've done so much of the heavy lifting.
Yeah.
On the thinking.
100%. And this time I'm taking even longer before I start, because I actually want to have a very solid story. So here's what I'm doing, right? Here's the lesson I've learned from the fiction trilogy that I've just completed. People who have one couple through a trilogy or quadrilogy get a lot higher read through, because there are inevitably romantic cliffhangers at the end of each book.
Oh, yeah.
Now, obviously, there are lots of romance authors that have high read through, but often they're writing contemporary romance, and it's like siblings or cousins or whatever, and it's all in this small town or whatever. It's in they're all connected,
it's in a container.
and so. So, but that's very much in contemporary. And so readers have come to expect that. In fantasy, readers expect series. They expect something to drag you through the whole way. And I didn't do that. So whilst there are the characters track across all 3 books, they are a start and finish romances. So it's one couple, then it's a different couple in book 2, and then it's a different couple in book 3. So I write that best. I don't like having to write the same couple for a really long time. So what I'm doing is I'm having a plot question, a fantasy element plot question that gets asked in book 1 and does not get answered until book 3. And so even though the couple romance story is done in each book, the plot and the overarching is not going to be complete until book 3. Now, I know what that is already. I already know. Oh, well, yeah.
That would be the hardest part for me. I cannot plot my way out of a paper bag. And just what you said just made me want to throw up. I could never come up with something.
Well, it's because there are so many twists and unexpected turns that so that has had, and because in order to seed that, I need to know. But I now don't know what the stories are in each one and how I'm going to do that. So I'm fun. Yeah. So my aim is to have not necessarily a full outline for each book, but to be pretty confident so that I can do all of that seeding and I know what needs to be revealed in book 1, book 2, book 3. So that's why I'm taking a little bit longer, but I'm also allowing myself a lot more time. So for example, I have just I'm probably going to get hated on, but used AI to create emblems for the families. And
fabulous.
And I've just looked on Fiverr. I think I've just found an artist to create a city map for me. And so it's these elements because I'm making it much richer. And I'm starting with the world, the literal physical world and the setting, because I get a lot of ideas about the story based on locations and stuff. So I'm putting a lot more into the world building than I did with the first book. And so I'm hoping that's going to lead to, because the read through is good, but it's not as good as I know it can be based on sales and just based on the feedback that I get from people who do track across. I know I can do better. So that's my goal for the next series, is to have really high read through. So it's going to be a cliffhanger, but it's not going to be a romantic one at least. But yeah,
that's genius. And I think you're going to have so much fun playing with all of that. I could never. I'm just in awe. And then when is the keynote? Is that October?
November the 6th.
November 6th. I have, if it makes you feel better, I'm doing the Surrey International Writers Conference, which is one of my very, very favorite conferences in the world. It's in just outside of Vancouver, but I'm doing it virtually. But I'm doing an all-day master class, or a long master class for my publishing course, and I'm getting really I'm really comfortable presenting for an hour. But for multiple hours at a conference that I respect so hugely. And this is one of those add-on days. You can add on a day to do this extra big thing. And I'm feeling really uncomfortable. And
no, imposter syndrome. Or...
Yeah, I do have it. With that. Yeah. Yeah. That's all right though. But we do it anyway. We do. And then after we do it, we feel fucking amazing, right?
Yeah, and you are amazing because you teach people all of the time, literally every 90 days. You drag people through finishing their manuscript. You do. How many lives have you changed doing that? Come on.
Sometimes that thought flits through my mind and then I swallow it and I go, no, you big britches, stop it. But what did I write down the other day? Let me just grab this really quickly because I can't even remember where I heard it. But it prompted this thought that I wrote down. That is, it is my job to break the spell for writers who don't think that they can write books. That's my job, is to break that spell that so many people have. I can't do that. I can't do that. My job is to break the spell. And sometimes I do break the spell. Actually, a lot of times I break the spell. And I'm so happy about that. It would just give me a little happiness headache.
Yeah. Oh no, I love that. What a magical job you have.
Right?
I know, that's so special.
It's truly the best. And then to see their books come out, either traditionally published or self-published. I don't know which one actually makes me happier. Because with traditional publishing, yay, go you. But with self-publishing, oh my God, I look at everything that you did.
I love it. There's 2 things I want to do before the end of the year, other than the Vegas talk.
Tell me.
So I'm going to draft book 1 in the new series.
In December then, because
from the 20th of November to the 20th of December.
Okay. Great.
Yeah. But also my fear is that's already, because I'm not starting immediately, it's going to be 5 months between releases, like, so 5 months between releasing next month and then the release of the next one, which I find that terrifying. But anyway, so I'm going to do that. And then I am going to lean all the way into my competition for the next course I create.
Right.
So I am going to be doing a course on, so you know how everybody talks about like writing to market?
Yes.
But they don't talk about how you actually do the writing of writing to market. They all talk about like the branding, the packaging, the I don't know, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I have a class that talks about the prose aspect and the craft and the structure and how to pick those bits out and things like that. So I'm going to do that. There will be some like, how do you understand the market, like stuff, so that they can get like the comps that they need. And competition does that. I look at the market all day, every day. So there'll be that, but the course will predominantly be on the craft aspect of writing to market, because nobody talks about that.
I love that so much, and I cannot wait for you to do that.
So that's this month's project, is October project, is that course.
Oh, how fun is that?
I know. I'm very excited. I think I'm going to get a lot of comp pennies from it.
You're so cool. You're so cool. I just banged my microphone. I got so excited.
So then the next time we talk will be right before I fly to Vegas.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay. I missed you during those 2.5 months. That's terrible. But we also knew that people would understand, because you were drafting like crazy. I was supposed to be revising, but actually being sick. And so, yeah, that was.
We're back now.
Well done. We're back. Thank you, Sasha.
Yes.
This was delightful.
I'm so happy we're back.
Don't forget to tune in and subscribe on your podcatcher. And when you have a moment, please leave a review.